Look at your hands. These remarkable instruments have built cities, written masterpieces, and changed the course of history. Yet millions of gifted hands remain idle, their potential locked away by a lack of discipline. I spent 40 years watching talented people come and go, bright stars that fizzle out while seemingly ordinary folks rise to extraordinary heights. The difference: pure, unadulterated discipline. Back in 1992, I witnessed something that forever changed my understanding of success. Two young entrepreneurs started similar businesses in the same city at the same time. Michael had it all: natural business instincts, charm that could sell ice to Eskimos, and an MBA from a top university. And there was Sarah, who barely finished high school, but woke up at 5 a.m. every single day to work on her business plan before her day job. Michael's business took off like a rocket. Investors threw money at him. Local papers wrote glowing profiles, and everyone predicted he'd be the next big success story. Sarah's progress was slower, methodical. She spent 2 hours every morning making calls, refined her systems bit by bit, and kept detailed notes of every lesson learned. 3 years later, Michael's company had vanished. All that talent, all that potential, gone. He'd skipped the foundational work, relied too heavily on his natural abilities, and when market conditions turned tough, he lacked the disciplined processes to weather the storm. Sarah, she built a company that now employs over 300 people. The secret wasn't innovation or brilliance. It was showing up every single day, rain or shine, working through a carefully planned system. She built success brick by brick, day by day, while Michael tried to construct his dream penthouse without a foundation. This pattern isn't unique to business. I've seen it in sports, education, the arts, every field imaginable. Time and again, the naturally gifted fall behind those who show up, stick to their systems, and do the work consistently. It's like watching a race between a sports car and a locomotive. These sports cars might be flashier and faster in short bursts, but the locomotive keeps moving forward, steadily, unstoppably, through any weather, any terrain. For 4 decades, I've studied success patterns across every industry imaginable. The evidence is clear and unchanging. Discipline beats talent every time. Not sometimes, not usually, every single time. When both are present, discipline multiplies talent. But faced with a choice between the two, discipline wins, hands down. What you're about to hear isn't theory or wishful thinking. These are battle-tested principles, drawn from thousands of real-world examples, proven strategies that have transformed ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. The next few minutes could revolutionize your understanding of what's truly possible when you harness the power of discipline. Our society worships talent like it's some kind of magical key to success. Turn on your television, open a magazine, scroll through social media. Everywhere you look, we're bombarded with stories of prodigies and natural-born geniuses. It's a comforting myth, isn't it? The idea that some people are just born special, destined for greatness. But let me tell you something that might shock you. Talent is the great deceiver of our time. I remember sitting in a recording studio in 1994, watching a young musician I'll call David. This kid could pick up any instrument and play it beautifully within hours. Perfect pitch, natural rhythm, the kind of raw talent that makes other musicians stop and stare. Everyone said he was going to be the next big thing. But today, he's selling insurance in Milwaukee. Nothing wrong with selling insurance, mind you, but it wasn't the destiny everyone predicted for him. What happened? David relied on his talent. He skipped practices, showed up late to recording sessions, neglected to study music theory, and ignored the business side of the industry. Meanwhile, another musician in that same studio, a woman who could barely carry a tune when she started, worked tirelessly for years. She took voice lessons, practiced scales for hours, studied the industry, and built relationships. Today, she's written songs for some of the biggest names in country music. This is what the talent worshippers don't tell you. Mozart practiced for 3,500 hours by age 6. Leonardo da Vinci filled 7,000 notebook pages with practice drawings. These so-called prodigies were actually masters of discipline who started young. Let's look at the cold, hard research. Studies from the past 20 years have consistently shown that practice, deliberate, focused, systematic practice, accounts for up to 80% of the difference between elite performers and average ones. Talent might determine where you start, but discipline determines where you finish. Remember the story of the tortoise and the hare? We've been telling our children the story for generations, yet somehow we've missed its profound truth. Society celebrates the hares, those naturally gifted individuals who bound ahead effortlessly. But life keeps proving again and again that it's the tortoises who ultimately succeed, those who move forward consistently, methodically, relentlessly. I've interviewed Olympic athletes who weren't even the best on their high school teams, self-made millionaires who failed basic math, best-selling authors who got D's in English. What these people share isn't talent. It's an almost religious devotion to showing up every day and doing the work. In the 1990s, British researchers conducted a fascinating study of musicians at various skill levels. They found something remarkable. The primary difference between world-class performers and good performers wasn't natural ability. It was the number of hours spent in deliberate practice. The elite performers had put in an average of 10,000 hours by age 20. Their less talented peers, about 4,000 hours. But here's the real kicker. When they tracked naturally gifted musicians who practiced sporadically, they found that these individuals consistently fell behind their less talented peers who practiced systematically. Talent without discipline isn't just insufficient. It's often a curse. It creates false confidence, breeds complacency, and leads to eventual failure. Think about the gifted kids from your school days. How many lived up to their potential? Studies show that children labeled as naturally talented often underperform in the long run. They become afraid to try hard things, worried about losing their gifted status. Meanwhile, the average kids who develop strong work habits often surge ahead by college or early career. The talent myth does more than just mislead. It paralyzes. It makes people sit waiting for their big break instead of building success day by day. It encourages them to seek shortcuts instead of mastering fundamentals. Worst of all, it gives them a ready-made excuse for failure. I guess I wasn't talented enough. What a tragic waste. Because here's the liberating truth. Discipline is available to everyone. You don't have to be born with it. You don't have to wait for inspiration to strike. You don't need anyone's permission to build it. Discipline is a choice you can make right now, and again tomorrow, and every day after that. Standing in front of a massive oak tree, you'd never guess it started it as a tiny acorn. But day after day, that small seed followed its genetic programming without fail. It didn't try to grow faster on sunny days or slow down during storms. It simply kept growing, following nature's discipline plan. That's what true discipline looks like. Consistent, unwavering action that compounds over time. Most people get discipline all wrong. They think it's about Herculean effort, gritting your teeth through pain, or some kind of militant self-control. But real discipline is quieter, simpler, and far more powerful. It's about doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not, with the same reliability as gravity. Let me paint you a picture of true discipline in action. It's the writer who sits down at their desk at 6 a.m. every morning, whether inspiration strikes or not. It's the salesperson who makes their 50 calls each day, regardless of their mood. It's the athlete who follows their training program on good days and bad days alike. Notice something? None of these actions are spectacular. None require special talent. They're simple, repeatable behaviors performed consistently over time. In 1996, I met a man named Frank who transformed himself from overweight and broke to fit and financially secure. His secret wasn't some dramatic lifestyle overhaul. Instead, he walked for exactly 20 minutes every morning and saved $5 every day. That's it. No gym membership, no financial advisor, no complex strategy. Just 2 simple actions performed without fail, day after day, year after year. The science behind this approach is fascinating. Research shows that our brains create neural pathways through repeated actions. Think of it like wearing a path through a field of grass. The first few times you barely leave a mark. But walk the same route every day, and soon you create a clear path that's easy to follow. That's what happens in your brain when you practice discipline. You're literally carving paths of least resistance toward positive behaviors. There's where most people stumble, and they try to change everything at once. They attempt to simultaneously start a business, learn a language, get in shape, and reorganize their entire life. That's not discipline. That's a recipe for failure. True discipline starts small and builds gradually. Let's break discipline down into its essential components. First, there's the foundation, picking specific, measurable actions you can perform daily. Not vague goals like get in shape, but concrete actions like walk for 20 minutes or eat one serving of vegetables with every meal. Second comes time, linking these actions to specific time to triggers in your day. The most disciplined people don't rely on motivation or memory. They create systems. They don't decide each morning whether to exercise. They just know that 7 a.m. means workout time, period. Maintaining a simple record of your actions. In my research of successful individuals across every field, I found that tracking is often the hidden key to sustained discipline. It's not about guilt or pressure, it's about awareness and accountability. A simple check mark on a calendar can be more powerful than the most expensive coaching program. Fourth, and perhaps most important, is the compound effect. Small actions, repeated consistently, create massive results over time. If you improve just one each day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. That's not theory, that's mathematics. Take writing, for instance. 1 page per day seems insignificant, but maintain that discipline for a year, and you've written a 365-page book. This applies to everything: fitness, learning, business, relationships. The math of compound growth is always working, either for you or against you, depending on your disciplined actions. The beautiful thing about this approach is its accessibility. You don't need special equipment. You don't need permission. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment. You just need to decide what specific actions you'll take, when you'll take them, and then follow through with the persistence of that growing oak tree. Remember Frank, the man who walked 20 minutes and saved $5 daily? After 5 years, he lost 60 pounds and accumulated over $9,000 in savings. More importantly, he had built an unshakable belief in his ability to achieve goals through disciplined action. That belief spilled over into every area of his life, leading him to start a successful business and maintain healthy relationships. This is the true power of discipline. It's not just about achieving specific goals. It's about becoming the kind of person who achieves goals as naturally as breathing. It's about building a foundation of reliability and consistency that makes success in any area not just possible, but inevitable. Facts tell, but stories sell. And in my 40 years of studying success, I've collected stories that will forever change how you think about discipline. These aren't tales of superhumans or born geniuses. These are stories of ordinary people who understood one simple truth: consistency trumps talent every single time. Take Maria Rodriguez, a cleaning lady from Phoenix. In 1995, she started working at a small software company. While others saw her as just the cleaning staff, Maria saw an opportunity. Every night, after finishing her cleaning duties, she spent 1 hour learning about computers using the office's training manuals. Not 2 hours, not when she felt like it. 1 hour every single night, no exceptions. Other employees laughed. Some even complained about her using the office computers. But Maria kept showing up, kept learning, 1 hour at a time. Within 3 years, she had taught herself programming. Within 5 years, she was working as a junior developer at that same company. Today, she owns a successful software consulting firm. Not because she was born with exceptional talent, but because she showed up every single night for 5 years straight. Consider the story of Thomas Edison. We remember him as a genius inventor, but his real superpower was discipline. Edison conducted over 1,000 failed experiments before successfully creating the light bulb. When a reporter asked him about failing 1,000 times, Edison replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. That's discipline. Seeing each failure as just another step in the process." In the modern business world, look at Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Before her billion-dollar success, she spent 7 years selling fax machines door to door. Every morning, she would stand in front of the mirror practicing her sales pitch before anyone else was awake. She faced constant rejection, but stuck to her discipline of making 50 cold calls every single day. When she started developing Spanx, she maintained that same disciplined approach, working nights and weekends while keeping her day job, methodically learning about manufacturing, patents, and retail. The sports world provides some of the most striking examples of discipline trumping talent. Take Stephen Curry, who transformed from an overlooked college prospect into one of basketball's greatest shooters. His secret? A disciplined shooting routine that he's maintained for over 15 years. While natural athletes slept in, Curry was taking 300 shots every morning before practice, following the exact same routine day after day. Let me tell you about 2 salespeople I mentored in 1998. Tom had natural charisma. He could charm anyone instantly. Meanwhile, Susan was awkward in social situations and struggled with public speaking. But Susan created a discipline system. 20 calls before 10 a.m., detailed notes after every interaction, weekly review of her performance metrics. Tom relied on his charm, taking calls when he felt inspired, winging his presentations. 5 years later, Susan was leading the company's sales division, while Tom had bounced through 3 different careers. Susan's discipline had turned her weakness into strength, while Tom's talent had become a crutch that eventually failed him. Here's a story that perfectly illustrates the power of discipline over talent. In 1992, I met identical twins, both gifted musicians. Mark was considered the more naturally talented of the two, picking up new instruments effortlessly. His brother John struggled more, but established a strict practice routine. 2 hours every morning, 1 hour every evening, no exceptions. By 2000, John was performing with a prestigious orchestra while Mark played occasional gigs at local bars. Same genes, same upbringing, same opportunities, different outcomes. The only difference, discipline. Consider the case of Lisa Chen, who started running at age 40. She wasn't athletic. In fact, she could barely run for 5 minutes without stopping. But she created a simple, disciplined plan. Add 1 minute to her running time every week. No shortcuts, no dramatic increases, just steady progress. 8 years later, at age 48, she completed her first marathon. Not because she was talented, but because she followed her system with religious dedication. Even in creative fields, where we assume talent reigns supreme, discipline proves decisive. Stephen King writes 2,000 words every single day. Holidays, birthdays, sick days, no exceptions. Maya Angelou rented a hotel room every morning and wrote from 6:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. regardless of inspiration. Their talent varies day to day, but their discipline never wavers. Look at Warren Buffett. People call him a gifted investor, but his real gift is discipline. Over 60 years, he's followed the same routine. Reading 500 pages of financial reports every day, analyzing companies using the same criteria, never deviating from his investment principles, no matter how tempting the opportunity. His talent didn't make him a billionaire. His discipline did. These stories share common traits, a foundation that talent alone can never match. The disciplined individual might start slower, might look less impressive initially, but they keep moving forward while the talented often stagnate or regress. Remember Maria, the cleaning lady turned software entrepreneur? She recently told me something profound. Talent is like a sports car with no gas, flashy but useless without the fuel of discipline. Every day, she still dedicates 1 hour to learning something new about technology. 25 years later, same discipline, same consistency, extraordinary results. You wouldn't build a house without blueprints, and you can't build discipline without a system. Through years of research and observation, I've identified a formula that turns discipline from an abstract concept into a practical reality. This isn't theory. It's a proven system that's transformed thousands of lives. Start with what I call the 4 corners of discipline. First, pick one specific action, not 10, not 5, just one. Maybe it's making your bed every morning, reading for 30 minutes, or doing 20 push-ups. The size of the action doesn't matter nearly as much as its specificity. Get in shape isn't specific enough. Do 20 push-ups at 7 a.m. is perfect. Second, create what I call your trigger moment. This is the specific time or event that launches your disciplined action. The most successful people I've studied don't rely on motivation. They rely on triggers. When the alarm hits 5 a.m., they don't debate whether to get up. When the clock strikes 9, they don't question whether to start work. The trigger removes decision-making from the equation. Third, establish your tracking system. Get a simple calendar and mark and X every day you complete your chosen action. This creates what I call the chain of success. After a few days, you'll find yourself unwilling to break the chain. It's a powerful psychological tool that turns discipline into a game. You can win every single day. Fourth, build your accountability structure. Find someone who'll check your tracking calendar every week. This could be a friend, family member, or mentor. The key is regular check-ins, not to judge or criticize, but to verify and support. When you know someone else is watching, your commitment deepens. Overcoming obstacles. Everyone faces them, but disciplined individuals handle them differently. Create what I call a preset response plan. When you're tired, what's your response? When you're busy, what's your response? When you're discouraged, what's your response? Write these down. Having preset responses eliminates the need for in-the-moment decisions. Here's a technique I taught a struggling entrepreneur in 1990. The 5-minute rule. When resistance hits, commit to just 5 minutes of your chosen action. Usually, once you start, you'll continue. But even if you only do 5 minutes, you've maintained your discipline. Small actions compound into massive results. Another powerful tool is what I call success stacking. Start with one small disciplined action and maintain it for 30 days. Then add another, then another. I watched a woman transform her life using this method. She started by drinking water every morning. After 30 days, she added a 10-minute walk. After another 30 days, she added reading one article about her industry. Within a year, she had built 7 disciplined habits that completely transformed her productivity. Recovery from broken discipline. Everyone fails occasionally. The key is your response time. I teach what I call the 24-hour rule. No matter what breaks your discipline streak, you must restart within 24 hours. This prevents temporary setbacks from becoming permanent failures. Create what I call discipline anchors, environmental cues that support your chosen actions. Want to read every morning? Put a book on your pillow each night. Want to exercise? Sleep in your workout clothes. These physical reminders strengthen your mental commitment. Time blocking is another crucial technique. Don't hope you'll find time for your disciplined actions. Guarantee it by blocking specific times in your schedule. Treat these appointments with yourself as seriously as you treat a meeting with your most important client. Use what I call the public declaration technique. Tell people what you're going to do, not for praise, but for pressure. When others know about your commitment, you're more likely to follow through. One businessman I mentored posted his goals on his office wall where every client could see them. His discipline skyrocketed because he couldn't bear the thought of failing publicly. Finally, implement the daily review. Take 5 minutes every night to score your discipline on a scale of 1 to 10. Don't judge the score. Just record it. Over time, you'll see patterns emerge. These patterns reveal your discipline strengths and weaknesses, allowing you to adjust your strategy accordingly. Remember, this formula isn't about perfection. It's about progression. Every successful person I've studied has used some version of these tools. They work because they turned discipline from an abstract goal into a concrete system. Picture a freight train starting its journey. Those first few feet required enormous energy, but once it builds momentum, that same train can flatten anything in its path. That's exactly how discipline works. The beginning is the hardest part, but momentum makes you unstoppable. I watched this principle in action with a banker named Robert in 1993. He started with just 5 minutes of reading about investments every morning. Tiny step, right? But something fascinating happened after 2 weeks. Those 5 minutes naturally expanded to 10, then 15, then 30. Not because he forced it, but because momentum took over. Today, he manages one of the largest investment funds in Chicago. This is the secret nobody tells you about discipline. Small wins create a success autopilot in your brain. Each tiny victory releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical that makes you want to repeat the action. You're not just building habits, you're rewiring your brain's reward system. Take Sandra, a struggling artist who couldn't find time to practice. Instead of trying to paint for hours, she committed to making just one brushstroke every day. Sounds ridiculous, right? But that one stroke often turned into an hour of painting. By removing the pressure of a big commitment, she eliminated resistance. 3 years later, her work hangs in galleries across the country. The compound effect of disciplined actions works like a bank account paying daily interest. One push-up today seems meaningless, but one push-up daily, gradually increasing, transforms your body. One customer call today seems small, but one extra call daily adds up to 250 more customer connections per year. Improving just one daily means you're 37 times better in a year. That's not motivation talking. That's mathematics. Small, consistent actions compound just like financial interest. You can't see the growth day to day, but over time, the results are. Tatea's me, there's frustrating periods when progress seems to stop. Every disciplined person hits them. The key is understanding that plateaus are not stop signs. They're launching pads. When progress slows, it means your system is ready for an upgrade. I teach what I call a +1 principle. When you hit a plateau, add one small element to your routine. One more rep, one more minute, one more call. Not 10, not 5, just one. Maintaining motivation becomes automatic when you understand what I call the results loop. Results create motivation. Motivation maintains discipline. Discipline generates more results. But here's the key. You must learn to recognize results in their smallest form. In 1996, I worked with an insurance salesman who tracked everything. Calls made, appointments set, policies sold. During a sales slump, those small metrics saved his motivation. Even when sales were down, he could see his daily calls increasing, his presentation skills improving. Those micro-measurements kept him going until the sales caught up. Here's a technique I call success bookending. Start and end each day by reviewing your progress. In the morning, identify one small win you'll achieve. At night, record one small win you accomplished. These bookends keep you focused on progress rather than perfection. Memorization doesn't create discipline. Discipline creates motivation. Every small win strengthens your success identity. Every kept promise to yourself builds self-trust. Every tiny step forward proves you're the kind of person who follows through. Think about who you were last year compared to who you are today. Now imagine the same rate of growth compounded over the next 5 years. That's not wishful thinking. That's the predictable result of disciplined action. Like that freight train, you might start slow, but nothing will stop you once you build momentum. The time for thinking is over. The time for action is now. Right in this moment, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads to more of the same, waiting for talent to save you, hoping for the perfect moment, watching opportunities pass by. The other path leads to guaranteed success through disciplined action. The choice is yours, but let me make this crystal clear. This is the only moment that matters. Take out your phone right now. Open your calendar. I want you to schedule your first disciplined action for tomorrow morning. Not next week, not when you feel ready, tomorrow morning. Pick one simple action you can complete in 15 minutes or less. Maybe it's reading, exercise, making calls, or working on your business plan. The specific action matters less than your commitment to doing it daily. I'm going to give you what I call the 30-day discipline sprint. For the next 30 days, you'll complete your chosen action at the same time every day. No exceptions, no excuses, no negotiations with yourself. This isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. Small actions performed daily create unstoppable momentum. Pull out a piece of paper. Write down 3 things: your chosen action, your specific time trigger, and your why. Not a surface Y-A-W, deeper. If you want to exercise every morning, your why isn't just to get in shape. Maybe it's to be strong enough to play with my grandchildren or to feel confident in my own skin. Your why must be strong enough to get you moving when excuses start flowing. Now create your success system. You need 3 elements: a tracking method, an accountability partner, and a reward structure. Get a simple calendar for tracking. Find someone who'll check your progress weekly. Tell them about your commitment right after the speech. Set up small rewards for hitting your 7-day, 14-day, and 30-day marks. Here's your first assignment. Tonight, before bed, set out everything you need for tomorrow's disciplined action. If it's reading, put the book on your pillow. If it's exercise, lay out your clothes. Remove every possible obstacle between you and your chosen action. I want you to make what I call your discipline declaration. Write these words: I commit to your chosen action every day at a specific time for the next 30 days, no matter what. Starting tomorrow. Sign it, take a picture, send it to your accountability partner. Create your support system today. Join online communities focused on discipline and personal growth. Share your commitment with family members. Put sticky notes on your mirror. Change your phone's wallpaper to your written commitment. Surround yourself with reminders of your choice to become a disciplined achiever. Remember this one now, you'll wish you had started today. 2 months from now, you'll be amazed at your progress. 1 year from now, you'll look back at this moment as the turning point when everything changed. But only if you start now. Don't let your mind talk you out of this commitment. It will try. It will tell you to wait for the perfect moment. It will say tomorrow isn't a good day to start. It will suggest starting with something easier. Recognize these thoughts for what they are. Resistance trying to keep you comfortable and mediocre. The next 24 hours are crucial. This is when resistance will hit hardest. That's why I want you to text your accountability partner right now. Tell them what time to expect proof of your completed action tomorrow. Make it real. Make it public. Make it unavoidable. Your future self is watching this moment, waiting to see what you'll do. Will you be another person who left here inspired but took no action? Or will you be the one who turned inspiration into implementation? The one who transformed good intentions into disciplined actions? The path is clear, the system is proven, the choice is yours, but understand this: everything you want, every dream, every goal, every ambition lies on the other side of disciplined action. Not talent, not luck, not circumstances. Discipline. Start small. Start now. Start where you are. Just start. Because in the end, we're all gifted with the same 24 hours each day. The only difference between achievement and regret is discipline. Make your choice. Take your action. Begin your journey. The time is now.